This channel is supported by TrueFire. TrueFire is an online library of lessons from some of my favourite players. There's thousands of lessons on there. You can use the promo code JNC40 to get 40% off of any of their courses.
I don't have the most blessed ears in the world, obviously, or the most blessed fingers. Where I feel like I can hear the most pronounced difference is like on this little legato run. So I don't know if you hear something similar, but to me it seems like when I'm doing that soft playing stuff, more of the notes come through with the actual vibroverb, right? It seems like the quieter stuff, there's kind of more nuance to it, and it almost feels like there's like a semi kind of ripply things that happens when you're playing like the softer notes, but somehow they still pop out more. Whereas the katana on that exact same kind of clip, it seems to me like it's a little bit more flat. Is this what people are talking about when they're talking about feel? Because there is that kind of bubbliness, and it's not under the fingers because this is just a recording, but if you see what I mean, like there's like a glassiness, like a bubbliness that means that when you're playing softer, there's something a little bit different going on than what seems to be happening with the katana. That's one of the kind of little differences that I'm noticing listening back, but I don't know, is it still close?
Okay, so this is bit of a surprising video for me, to be honest, to be making. So, disclosure up front, I am a part owner of Victory Amps. Boss. I work with them on kind of producing tone sets to go on their Boss Tone Exchange. They pay me to do that from time to time. And I asked them, because basically I've done a video, or a few videos, looking for an optimal practice amp. And I said, like, I'm willing to pay. I'm trying to find a Katana Mark II head specifically for that video idea. But today's video is about something slightly different. But I think it's important to at least mention that up front. It wouldn't particularly make a difference because I'm going to show you how this thing sounds compared to a Fender 64 Vibroverb. Now, I'd be happy to make this video if it didn't sound particularly close as well. So one of the things occasionally that I see in the comments if I've done a Katana video is that Katanas are crap. And I do have a friend, Phil, if you're watching, who gigged a Katana as a backup to a Friedman amplifier. He was using it kind of as a pedal platform then. That's my wife calling. Can I call you back in 10 minutes? Just recorded a video. Happy birthday. Yes, sorry. The Fender 1964 Vibroverb. This is a reissue. Cesar Diaz modded, but I've got those mods switched off. My thinking was, what if I record the same clip into a looper, and I'm going to record it into the 64 first of all, and then I'm going to plug the Katana into exactly the same speaker, which is a 15-inch speaker, so a bit unusual. If I plug the Katana into that, then what will happen? And here is what happened. So the settings on the Katana are pretty straightforward. Basically, I got the master volume cranked in the 50-watt mode. I had the cab resonance set to vintage. I had the bass just past 5 o'clock, the mids in the middle, and the treble just around sort of just over 5, less than 6. The gain I've got at about 3, 4, and the volume is at 6. And that is kind of similar to the tone that I got in the Vibroverb, I think, or you let me know if it was or wasn't, with the volume at 3, the treble at 6, and the bass at about 5.5, 6. I didn't want any reverb on for this because I thought it might kind of throw things off a bit. Now, let me know in the comments, do you think that was close or not? I'm not sure whether I'm going to make this a blind test or not, because I kind of want you to be able to kind of make your own mind up. But when I listened back to it, I think, okay, well, that's pretty close. So my next thought was, well, one of the things that I'm not sure that Katana is so good for is taking pedals, right? So this is a clean tone, and bear in mind, of course, that maybe things might be a bit more distinct if we started to push these into breakup territory. But how I use amps live, generally, I'm looking for a clean tone. So I'm playing sort of like disco-y, funky stuff, and it has to be like actually clean. And then I might use pedals for my kind of breakup leads, all that sort of stuff. So that's why I'm comparing clean tones. I've done another video kind of comparing a Mesa Boogie Mark III with a Katana, if you're interested in that. Does the Katana take pedals very well? I've heard from some people that maybe not. Maybe this is where the digitalness shows up. So I took that same loop, plugged it into an Ibanez TS10, and recorded. These are the results. Then I thought, right, well, Tube Screamer, that's kind of one amount of gain, right? What if I went for something like an Ibanez SD9, bit more gain on that, and maybe that will show up some kind of more pronounced differences. Maybe here the Katana might start to sound, however, will it sound worse? Will it sound better? Does it start to sound digital. And here's what happened there. Now, I don't know whether you're going to want to go out and buy a katana. I think by now, probably a lot of us have it in mind what a katana is, and it's fair to say that it's probably at the budget end of things. I think the idea of spending lots of money on digital amplifiers is sort of not on most people's radar, unless you're talking about the Fender Tone Master stuff. Now, I think, to be honest with you, and let me know your thoughts in the comments, was that close or not? And to me, I'd be surprised, I think, if a Fender Tone Master sounded as close as that. Maybe I'm way off on that, but let me know your thoughts on that if you fancy doing that. But that was kind of my thought. Like, I've seen other videos, like for instance Mick and Dan comparing a Tone Master, the two types of Tone Master, to a hand-wired deluxe reverb, and to me it felt like there was a more distinct difference than between these two completely unrelated amplifiers in some ways. So I think maybe the speaker is a really important factor in this sort of test, and keeping the same speaker, keeping exactly the same mic distance to really figure out where those differences are, because if you don't do that, it would be really easy to make these sound super distinctly different just by moving a microphone a couple of centimeters, right? I have two amplifiers at the moment that are with an amp tech, and he's trying to fix those, right? So I got a call yesterday, I'm awaiting another call today. So my Mesa Boogie Nomad 45, he says there's like 3 preamp tubes that are dodgy on it and the power amp tubes as well. So that's 200 quid that I'm gonna spend getting that amplifier to work as it should. He had to replace a switch on it as well. So that's 200 quid just on tubes, and then presumably his bench fee is going to be sort of £90, like £300, and I'll be back to sort of square one with that amp. I've got the Pro Reverb in there, which is actually quite close to the Vibroverb in terms of circuit. I think the main difference might be that speaker. I don't know how much that's going to cost to repair, but that's the second trip to a tech in the last couple of months. When I do a comparison like this, I really loved the sound of this amplifier, right? It was yesterday, I think, that I uploaded the video. I think it's like the perfect blues amp. I think it's an incredible sounding amplifier. I was not expecting that the Katana could get this close to me without much tweaking. And it's making me think, right, well, that's interesting. Like, the Katana in this respect is kind of underrated, right? That's kind of as far as I need to go on the video. The other reason I got this amplifier, or asked Boss if I could at least loan one, was that this isn't plugged into anything at the moment. It has a speaker built into the head. And to me, that makes that an incredibly useful little tool, right? So this is a 100-watt head. It's got an internal speaker if I just wanted to take that around. It's not the loudest, but it actually sounds pretty good. And when I plugged it through the Vibroverb speaker, it sounded even better. And I don't know if you agree, but I feel like it sounds pretty close to what is a very expensive, very rare amplifier. Not only that, you've got a power amp in. The Katanas are hugely, hugely loud. And I think it might be a thing where this could totally do a job for me. And I've overlooked the Katana in some ways for this sort of thing. You know, there's no reason to me why that couldn't be at least a very good and capable backup. That's just it as a clean pedal platform. You know, is it far off what is beneath it? You know, a £2,000-3,000 hand-wired Fender classic blackface circuit. To me, is a surprise, if I'm honest with you. Yeah, I don't know. Let me know your thoughts in the comments on that. It's not what I expected, and I was expecting maybe there to be quite a big difference between the two things. You would logically expect that, I think. Anyway, it was surprising to me. As I say, it's not exactly an impartial video, given that they do pay me to make videos occasionally, or make the tone sets and that sort of stuff. But, you know, I wasn't really expecting it to be particularly close, and it turned out to be far closer than I expected. Would I be happy gigging that, having now compared it? And this is the thing, I think most of the time we don't really compare these things. We're kind of going on memory. And when I look back and I listen to the two recordings, I'm like, well, unless there's so much lost in the room that the microphone is not a fair representation of sound and all that sort of stuff, but that's happening for both amplifiers, I just feel like a Katana could be enough, weirdly. And I was on the precipice of kind of going out and thinking, right, maybe I'm going to buy a Cerbella. But I don't know. I'm thinking, well, that could be enough. And it'd be kind of cool to be able to say, well, I actually gig with a £300 amplifier, and it's enough for me. Does it sound good? Yeah, I've just compared it to a Vibroverb, and I think it compares pretty favourably. Like, that clean, to me, sounds better than the clean on this Mesa Boogie Subway Blues. You know, I've heard worse cleans out of some of my tube amplifiers. I don't know. Surprising? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. I'll drop this into the Boss folder. I'm not sure what it's going to sound like into another speaker cab, but I'll try it now into an EV speaker. But just, yeah, sounds really quite good. Surprising.